Okay, this represents $1. I'm going to put this down here. It's a bet that no other slides are messed up. Anyone want to take the bet? I thought so. The chances of winning are seemingly greater than I expected. So we will now move on to the next category, environment, individual. The finalists are, and the winner is, Jeff Smith and Angus Gentle.
That I better be short. I also really want to thank my co-worker and Justice we, this is very much a shared effort with Angus back in Australia. I hope he's either seeing this or will soon. Our work concerns basically the built environment to a fair extent, but also it's evolved in recent years into making cities. Cities are, as you know, the world is cities are becoming a larger portion of the population is living in them, and mega cities are growing at great rate, and more of them. So we have to learn to make cities more habitable and to save energy at the same time. And so we as physicists approach this as physicists do, in looking at what makes it all tick. And in this case, it's the sun and the atmosphere. And then we say, well, how can we make great materials that will adapt or deal with that energy flows from out there and create the things that we humans on Earth need to make us comfortable, to enjoy life, and to make our cities even prettier. That's colour and design and energy saving, all in one. That's what we do. Thank you.
Next category is finance corporate. The finalists are, and the winner is, Seed Invest.
So I can say on behalf of my team that we are extremely humbled to be recognized among a group of individuals and companies that, in my opinion at least, are doing awe-inspiring work. And out of respect for the people that are in this room, I will keep these comments as short as possible, because at the end of the day, who really wants to hear from the finance guy? To this point, Seed Invest over the last 3 years has been working with promising technology startups to help fundraise while being restricted to only doing so from the wealthiest 2% of US citizens. However, we are right now on the precipice of some of the most fundamental changes to capital formation that this country has ever seen. And to that end, I just hope that the work that we're doing is going to help ensure that the most promising and inspiring individuals and entrepreneurs are going to be able to help secure the funding they need to realize their visions. So thank you very much.
Okay, biotechnology individual. The finalists are, and the winner is Jennifer Dudna and Emmanuel Charpentier. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, good evening. I want to say thank you very much for this honor. It's wonderful for me and for my collaborator, Emmanuel. We are deeply thankful for this recognition. I speak for both of us when I say that we hope that the CRISPR technology for genome editing will be useful for solving real-world problems. I think we're already very encouraged by the incredible progress in science that's been made over the last 3 years using this approach. And we are really heartened by the pace at which the science is moving forward. It's a great opportunity for me as a basic science researcher, someone who started a project as a curiosity-driven effort to understand basic science, and to see that effort turn into an exciting technology that will benefit human health and agriculture and synthetic biology in the future is just truly exciting. So thank you very much. It's really a great honor, and I'm delighted to be recognized in this fashion. Thank you.
Thank you. Jennifer and Emmanuel both spoke earlier this morning and gave a great talk on a split screen from Europe and the West Coast about their work. And if you don't know about CRISPR, look into it. It's going to change everything you can do with genetics. Next category is IT hardware corporate. The finalists are, and the winner is Oculus. On behalf of Oculus, I accept this award virtually for them. The next category, which I'm predicting, have a missing slide, given a slide that was shown earlier, is Communications Technology Corporate. And God, I hope. And the winner is N-Wave Technologies, yes.
Hello. This one? I'm Matthew Bailey. Actually, just kidding. I'm Jenna Leflam, standing in for Matthew Bailey and M-Wave. And on their behalf, I'd like to say that I am thrilled that we won this award for Best Corporation in Communication Technologies. So I'd like to share with you some words that Matthew Bailey wrote and passed along for me to share with you. So he says, "We were delighted to have been nominated as a finalist, competing against stiff competition, such as Alibaba. Wow, the biggest IPO the world has seen. Well done, Jack Ma. And our new favorite, well, the company that might be taking this single lady home tonight if nobody else here does, Uber. And so why did we win? Well, ladies and gentlemen, get your surfboards ready, because there's a third wave of global innovation happening at present, and it's called the Internet of Things. Do you know about this? You need to. It's a market estimated to be a 70 trillion global economy. Imagine getting just a drop of that. It's mega. The Internet of Things, which is commonly referred to as IoT, is about making every aspect of our life more comfortable, smarter, more efficient, more enjoyable, all of that. And speaking for myself now, I do like a good bit of pleasure, so this is a good thing. The markets and applications for the IoT are vast and diverse. For example, smart cities, where it becomes easier to find a parking space, giving you more time to neck in the back seat when you get there maybe, or more time for shopping. Another example would be combating the negative effects of climate change, and with smart agriculture, where we can save water, optimize food production, and continue to enjoy scrumptious dinners like this for years to come. The IoT is about billions of sensors placed across our planet, measuring information from the physical world, the things part of it, which enable internet applications to take helpful actions. To minimize energy costs and vastly simplify deployment of these billions of IoT sensors, a new type of long-range wireless network had to be invented, and we did it. So yes, we invented the new IoT cellular wireless technology. They are called low-power wide area networks and are the cheapest and most energy-efficient way for IoT sensors to send data to the internet. It's estimated that by 2023, there will be over 3 billion IoT sensors connected into low-power wide area networks, so who knows what parts of your house are going to be glowing with these things. Can you imagine how it's going to be with all these new sensors making our lives smarter? Wow! So, in fact, Cisco recognized our hard work too. And we won the Cisco Grand Innovation Challenge, although we think the World Technology Network slightly edges it on prestige. So, I encourage you to follow Einstein's words of wisdom and to imagine, and George Bernard Shaw's think of things and say, why not? And with no further ado, on the behalf of NWAVE, I thank the World Technology Network for recognizing our hard work, the hard work of NWAVE Technologies, helping to build a brighter, smarter, and energy-efficient future. Thank you on the behalf of Matthew Bailey.
I can think of that being a very good excuse for us to take an entertainment break right now. Who's up for some more entertainment? We have with us Paul Miller, DJ Spooky, and Kenji Williams, who you heard earlier. Please welcome them, and please enjoy.
Okay. Give me a hug, hey. Okay. Hello, hey. So first and foremost, I just want to say it's an absolute pleasure and honor to be here, and I look forward to just seeing, for example, Yochi's 3D holograms. I want to be the first DJ using that technology. So what you're going to hear coming up is a batch of compositions. I need the DJ. That essentially were based on this project I did where I went to Antarctica for 6 weeks and recorded a batch of compositions that relate to what I call the geometry of ice. Now, it's not every day you have a DJ going to Antarctica. I'll leave it at that. But basically, my most recent batch of projects have been literally about the idea of sound and science. So recently, I had a series of concerts at the Acropolis, and I projected a crazy film called Birth of a Nation by D.W. Griffith and remixed it live at the Herod Atticus Theater. Yeah. So the Greek government was like, hey, why do you want to play a crazy KKK film at the Acropolis? So this is hip hop, this is how we do it. And I was like, well, you guys are Greek. You got, comedy, tragedy. And they're like, oh, we get it. Okay. So basically, we ended up, if you go back through the archaeology of media of the last 20 to 30 years, multimedia has become the new vocabulary of how we think about art, design, and above all, communication in a technology-based society. So one of my favorite composers is a gentleman by the name of Richard Wagner, and he has a great phrase where he says, essentially, imagination creates reality. Now, when we think about art and technology, art always gives us a sense that we have to reimagine the spaces of what is possible. And that's where I think quantum physics and the idea of how art and complexity have created new forms of perception in the 21st century that allow composers, artists, and writers to actually, I think at least, reimagine this notion of possibility. And this comes back to one of my favorite writers, William Gibson. He has a great phrase where he says, "The future is already here, it's just unevenly distributed." So basically, when I'm DJing, I usually do concerts not at places like this, but like this. This is a couple thousand girls throwing their bras on stage. Yeah, don't do that, please. All right. So usually I DJ at big events, big festivals, and I make electronic music based on contemporary electronic styles that reflect, I view at least, what I call pattern recognition in culture. Hip-hop, techno, dubstep. Many of the styles that urban youth culture uses today are based on digital media at every level. So it's a new kind of vernacular, but one that's based firmly in the tradition of computer music. So all of our stuff, I love to reference this idea of Richard Dawkins, where he says, science is the poetry of reality. Now, when we think about Dawkins, yes, he's a controversial guy, but there's some good issues that he has dealt with the idea of memes. So for me as a DJ, artist, and writer, I basically think about memes as patterns in culture overall. So what you're going to hear in a moment is a series of compositions. And by the way, this is on purpose. I'm going to get out of PowerPoint, so you're getting a little tour of my hard drive. That's, you know. So when the economist Joseph Schumpeter coined the term disruptive innovation or creative destruction, he was looking at the idea of how economic theory can be applied to innovation. And when we think about the 21st century right now, there's so many destructions going on that it's actually hard to even think about it, and it begins to boggle the mind, as James pointed out earlier. So from Joseph Schumpeter to the artist Ai Weiwei, I'm inspired from the viewpoint of the idea that the artist can reach into the heart of culture and really think about how we can reconfigure the way we look at the creative process. So I've been publishing with MIT for the last 10 years, and my most recent book is called The Imaginary App. I commissioned a whole bunch of writers, artists, and creatives who I think are really resonant with our time. And one of the main essays was with Stephen Wolfram. For those of you who don't know him, he's probably one of the world's premier mathematicians. And the idea was to get him to start thinking about patterns in electronic music from the viewpoint of algorithms. So what you're going to see here is a project where essentially I went to Antarctica and set up a series of projects about geometry and sound, and basically carried a studio in a backpack to several of the main ice fields to do what I call acoustic portraits of ice. So when you think of ice, you're essentially seeing a geometry at work, and it's about pattern recognition. If you think about hexagonal form, you're seeing permutation, and there's this idea of recursive logic, the idea of changing patterns of similarity. But this piece was commissioned by Ai Weiwei and was presented at the Gwangju Biennale in Korea, and we ended up having a series of compositions projected on the architecture of the building. And we had cranes, and the idea was to project throughout the biennial different kinds of geometry that would be translated directly into composition. So we had about 10,000 people come to my concert, and what you ended up thinking about, from my point of view, was this gentleman, Johannes Kepler. Most people consider him to be the first prototype of, there you go, hey. Yeah, he's a rock star, right, there we go. He's probably DJ Kepler now, you know. But, so when you think about it, in 1611 he was on his way home, and a snowflake landed on his sleeve, and he ended up writing this essay, 6 Sides of a Snowflake, which is considered to be one of the first treatises in mathematics looking at geometry and nature. And I took those equations and made a series of compositions which you're about to hear. So when you think about using MaxMSP, which is what you're going to be hearing condensed into electronic media, the beats that you're seeing and hearing are reflections not only of taking his equations and plowing it through a software patch, but looking at geometry as a tuning form and being able to generate ice. So whenever people ask me, Paul, why the hell did you go to Antarctica? And I was like, well, black people, we love ice. You got Ice Cube, Ice-T. This is a very famous gentleman, Iceberg Slim. And so from the poetics to the science, you actually have to think of what this kind of crowd can deal with. It's about translation. So what you're going to hear in a moment is basically this kind of data that I gathered when I was in Antarctica. And I also went to the North Pole with the Sierra Club last year. and I did what you call algorithmic musical transcription. So the basic idea is to make sound out of the weather and the climate differences and the idea of how those differences could be put into compositional form. So for me as an artist, that's what I like to go back to what I was saying earlier, pattern recognition. So what you're going to hear in a moment is a series of projects where essentially I condensed most of it down to an iPad app I've made called DJ Spooky, and it lets you play with SoundCloud, Google Music, Spotify, and most major forms of streaming music. So what you're going to hear in a moment is essentially I'm DJing over YouTube. And so I'll just do a quick scratch routine just to give you an idea. So say for example I'm DJing and I want to call up a song I didn't bring with me and have access to millions and millions of songs. I just did a project with Chuck D from Public Enemy. Let's see, Drums of Death. There we go. And say for example I wanted to figure out a clever hack on that from the viewpoint of, you know, why not? Chuck D is very cool. All right.
We got the power and the knowledge, the movement still rock.
All right, and by the way, that was Dave Lombardo from Slayer playing beats. So it's not every day you have a DJ playing Slayer at World Technology Forum. I'll leave it at that. So, well, I'm going to be joined by a fellow composer, Kenji Williams. Hey, you want to come on up? And thanks. Kenji was presenting some of his material earlier, which I felt was stunningly beautiful, and I thought it would be a great idea to DJ some of the material I wrote in Antarctica as a compositional kind of reflection of the evening. So we're going to do a live remix. And what I want to do is show you, again, that's the interface. We've had over 15 million downloads of my iPad app. It's free, and it lets you, like I said before, DJ from your phone, your iPad, and various multimedia platforms. And it's free, so it's added 15 million zeros to my bank account, you know. But basically, the idea is that you have to think about multimedia as a vernacular that's both algorithmic, because we're looking at patterns, and it's about new kinds of what you call, you know, pattern recognition. So he's going to play violin, and I'm going to call up a couple YouTube clips from the Antarctica project. So for example, just tap this, pull it up really quickly, and we're going to call up the file. It's going to switch over, and you ready? Here we go. You want to just do a quick play? It's coming up. You want to just play something? Just to make sure it's in the...
Everyone hear it?
All right, that's sound check. There we go. All right, 1 second here. It's going to take a moment to load because we're on a 4G T-Mobile network. All right, hold on 1 second. That calls for the reboot. But essentially, it's like juggling all these different files that you can actually very quickly pull up and assign to turntables, and then you're basically DJing without any norms of having to carry vinyl, which for me is a godsend. So, all right, here we go. Hopefully this should be quick and painless. Okay, and sound is up. All right. Yeah, I'm not getting... Okay, there we go. Thank you. Kenji, I just want to ask really quick. Do you always play? I love the fact that we are able to combine. You develop software and work with both 3D and visualization as well. You're working on a series of projects about domes and other kinds of. How many other composers do you think are doing this? Probably not a lot, right? What do you think?
A guy named Jay Walt does pretty amazing things in the dome. He programs his own software and performs live instruments in the dome. But yeah, not a lot. But I would love to reference him. He's amazing.
So basically, Wagner in the 19th century coined the term Gesamtkunstwerk. Anybody who's from Germany out there gets the sense that you have to remember the 19th century was a radically different time. And with the Industrial Revolution versus the digital media revolution that we're experiencing, the tools have changed. And that's where I think the idea of the new kind of palette that you're seeing tonight, a palette made of data, of algorithms, patterns, and above all, interaction with traditional forms of instruments, that's where William Gibson's phrase, the future's already here, it's just unevenly distributed, comes home to roost. So you have to imagine it's not every day that a turntablist is using software to play with a violinist. It's just very rare. But we have to really think about the way art is changing, and that's the beautiful thing about this evening. It's been a real pleasure to work with Kenji, and I just want to say thank you. And for me, at least, as an artist, I want to end with a phrase from one of my favorite, I believe, artists. And it's a gentleman by the name, if you don't know this guy, you probably should. And let's see, you're getting it's tore through my hard drive on purpose, by the way. It's just making sure that there's nothing too spicy here. But, you know, just keeping it fun. So the phrase that I want to kind of riff on is this. It's called the semantic web. So Tim Berners-Lee invented the internet as we know it, the web, in 1989 at CERN in Switzerland. And it was because it was an open source context based on a shared economy of governments and scientists working together that the web as we know it is open source. So when I met Tim Berners-Lee, and me and him did a series of discussions at South Bank in London about the future of the web, I even got him to wear a hip-hop hat. You know, we were just kind of, you know, getting a little, just kind of fun there. But basically, the semantic web as we know it is about a certain kind of collision between code and culture. And that's where I think this evening helps us catalyze and reimagine the possibilities that are inherent in the way science is changing everyday life. So I'm going to end not only with a reference to my own book, The Imaginary App, but to one of my favorite artists, this gentleman. And he likes to say, logic will get you from A to B, but imagination will take you everywhere. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Paul and Kenji. We'll have a very different kind of entertainment at the end when we finish the last award, just before we end the evening as well. We're now going to resume with award giving. This category is social entrepreneurship. The finalists are, and the winner is Mickey Agarwal and Radha Agarwal.
To keep this very quick, my name is Mickey Agarwal, and this is Shama, our COO for Thinks. Okay, just quick show of hands. How many women are in the room? Just keep your hands up. Okay, cool. Keep your hands up high. If you've ever experienced a period accident, keep your hand up. Oh, shocker, every single woman. So really the innovation that we, the space that we're in is in the menstrual category, in the feminine hygiene category, where there's been really 3 innovations in the entire 20th century. So the first thing is we're really trying to reimagine and innovate in the first world in a category that women require for the better part of our lives. But also in the developing world, there are over 100 million girls right now that are missing a week of school when they have their periods, and millions of those girls are dropping out of school because of something as natural as their periods. And I'm half Indian, and she's Sri Lankan and Indian as well. Yeah, ladies from India. We, in our discovery, in our travels, discovered this really staggering statistic that the plight of women in the developing world, and especially being held back by something that they can't control. So what we've done is we've invented and patented a pair of underwear that supports women here. In fact, I'm wearing them right now, period underwear, ladies and gentlemen, that you can freely bleed into. And for every pair of underwear sold, we fund a pack of reusable menstrual pads to girls starting in Uganda, and we're starting to work with girls in India and Nepal soon as well. So to date, we've helped over 30,000 girls go back to school, and hopefully we'll be helping many more girls. All right, thank you very much, and check out shethinks.com, everyone.
The next category is Energy Individual. The finalists are, and the winner is Gang Chen.
Wow, this is a complete surprise. I thought I'd come here to congratulate the colleagues I respect, and didn't really expect to get this. I'm speechless, so I was thinking about stimulated by James Clark's speech at the beginning. There are two things. One is poet. Now, the poem you read, and I wish I could be poet, and I just couldn't come up with that. The other keyword that hit me was serendipity. And so that made me to think about how I get into what I'm working on. And I grew up in China, and it was just a time when China started to open, and I got into college. And in fact, at the time, there was only 1 or 2% of students getting into college. So when I get an admission letter from university, I was so excited. So I called my father, and my father is a mathematician, and the first question he asked is, what's your major? I didn't know anything. We're assigned major. And so I read the admission letter, and they read thermal power plant. And my father said, oh, too bad. And he said, you'll be a boiler maker. So so I tried to actually get away from boiler making. Boiler is related to heat, and I could never get away. And after all those years working on it, I finally realized why. If you think about the energy we're using, over 90% of the energy we use is input as heat. And we only use 40% of that. So you probably heard of a second law of thermodynamics. And that, the second law of thermodynamics tells us we can do much better. So my whole life so far has been really, I say it's guaranteed second law of thermodynamics, trying to improve in the efficiency, the way we use thermal energy. And at the end, the solar energy is also a thermal, it's a heat source of 6,000 degree Kelvin. It's just diluted very much when it gets to the sun. So there are a lot of serendipity in the research, and we have, inventions like how we can take a battery, typically store energy, how we can use it to convert heat into electricity. And we typically think about the oil, water doesn't mix. They do not mix, right? But we can actually use oil to desalinate water and get fresh water. So I think there are a lot of serendipity in research. I hope
I thank James Clark for supporting research, and I hope we, or the whole society, really supporting this serendipity discoveries and research inventions. Thank you very much.
Next category is Health and Medicine Individual. Those are the finalists. The winner is Miriam Barlow and Christina Krona.
Such an honor to have been invited here. It's been like being a kid again to be here, surrounded by so much imagination and creativity, and it's just really sparked my zest for science and for learning and for arts and social sciences and all sorts of things. I'm a fan of so many of you, like literally I see your stuff come up on my Facebook page and I'm like, this is awesome. And then to be here in your presence has been amazing, and to win this is such a surprise. It's such an honor. So the work that I've done on restoring the usefulness of antibiotics and making bacteria become susceptible to antibiotics once again has really been prompted because vulnerable populations are the hardest hit, the very young, the very old, prisoners, people without adequate access to medicine. And I feel like the only reason the problem has been allowed to get as bad as it is now is because it's been these people kind of on the margins of society that are affected. And winning this award tonight means that we're, I think, ready to start taking care of these people a little better than we have been. And it's so inspiring to see that society has come to that point, and I'm very grateful for that progress that we've made. Thank you so much.
Thank you for what you said. I love my job. I love my job. Next category is IT software, corporate. These are the finalists, and the winner is SoundHound. The person who's supposed to be here isn't here, it looks like. Who wants Jenna to accept an award on behalf of SoundHound? Come, Jenna. We're sending a photo of this. Thank you. The next category is law. The finalists are, and the winner is John Perry Barlow.
Greetings. I am terribly sorry I can't be there with you, and I mean that in so many different ways. But I am honored by this award. I think there is an irony in it, since I've spent the last 25 years trying to keep the law out of cyberspace. We're trying to get people to recognize that law was not going to be imposed on cyberspace in a particularly useful way a lot of the time. And I don't know that we've actually advanced the cause that much, to tell you the truth, because there are still people who think that it's all a matter of education and enforcement. Words I've heard echoed before in other feudal situations. But the reality is that we have done some good with the law ourselves in building berms against it. When EFF had the Bernstein case and managed to make it possible for real encryption to get used on the net, that made an enormous difference in the possibility of internet commerce. And, you know, we are doing our very best to create a situation where even though the NSA and the CIA may have a vast pool of data, that it's a little difficult for them to put it together still. Now, I know that that's an unpopular sentiment, but one of the things that you have to realize is that the internet is contiguous. It is all of a piece. And what you can control in any part of it, you can control in all of it. And what flavor you can control means that you always can control other flavors. So, I mean, it's like you can have the egg salad internet, but you can't have the cheese internet. No, that's not it. You have to take the whole thing. And this is not such a new concept. I mean, John Stuart Mill said, oh gosh, 150 years ago, liberty lies not in the views of people like oneself. It lies in the views of that person you find most odious. And that is still true. So if you are going to deny the rights of that person whom you find most odious, you're putting your own on the line. Just know that, and know that we're out there trying to keep the law doing what it can do and to prevent it trying to do what it can't. Thanks.
Thank you, John. Thank you. The next category is materials individual. The finalists are, and the winner is Jeanette Garcia.
Thank you, Jim. And I think it's actually my opportunity to say wow this time. So thank you so much. I do really hope that the work that we've been doing on making revertible thermosets, which are plastics, they're some of the highest strength plastics out there, and making them degradable, recyclable, will actually have an impact on the environment. I really, really do hope this. I just need to thank the team of people at IBM Almaden, especially Jim Hedrick and Gavin Jones. Gavin does a lot of the computational work that helped guide us towards finding the structure of this material. And really, I'm very grateful, and thank you so much.
Thank you. By the way, when you will be publishing the list, if you can't remember all the names of all the finalists again and the winners, but please do check out their work after this event. You're hearing little snippets, tantalizing snippets of some of the things that they do. But when you read up in more detail what they do, it's incredible. It's incredible. The humility that you're hearing from people who are epically unusually talented and accomplished individuals is really quite moving. The next category is Space Individual. The finalists are, and the winner is Rick Tumlinson.
Okay, that was a complete surprise. First, I have to tell you, when I first got the invitation from you, I was very confused. I'm somewhat siloed in space, and I thought, well, this is some sort of scam. I don't know, they're going to.
And right you are.
I am.
None of you are leaving this room.
Right. And so, as we got closer to it, and then you said, well, you've got a free admission. I thought, well, that's not a really good scam. It's not going to work at all. Anyway, look, on your way home tonight, or when you're alone, or when you're on your tar beach roof garden, or whatever it is you do to find solitude, and when the sky is clear, I want you to just take a moment. Just take a moment and look. And just take a breath and push aside all the thoughts that ramble through your head, and just for a moment, fall upward. Fall upward into that universe that we're a part of, and become one with it for just a moment. Allow yourself to feel it. Allow yourself to feel that wonder that you felt as a child as you discovered everything for the first time. And then let it get inside of you, and let yourself feel it and understand why you're here. As I said today, we're here to go there. Thank you.
Next category is Finance Individual. The finalists are, and the winner is Jenny Lee from GGV Capital. Jenny is not here this evening, and I accept the award on her behalf, not Jenna. The next category is Environment Corporate. The finalists are, and the winner is Aero Farms.
So I'd like to make a toast to being bold. There's a lot of boldness in this room, and especially in recognition, in a couple of weeks, there's a momentous, since we won an environmental award, there's paying recognition to a momentous environmental moment in COP21 happening in Paris. And we sincerely hope our political leaders are bold in doing something significant in this movement. And also recognizing at Aero Farms, there's a lot of boldness that, boldness starts off small and it sort of grows. So the genesis of our innovation started with, can we create the air in Aero Farms signals, we grow plants in air. And we missed nutrition to the root structures using these nozzles. And we were told at first that we can't invent a nozzle that doesn't clog. So we were bold, and in the face of that, created a nozzle that doesn't clog. And then we thought, all right, what's a growth media that supports it? So we created a growth media that is made out of a synthetic fiber that's also 100% reusable and recyclable, and that supports plant growth. And then we were told you can't grow without you can't grow without sunlight, and we developed ways to grow without sunlight. And then we were told we can't grow products that taste good in this unnatural environment, and lo and behold, we grow plants that taste fantastic. And then we were told we couldn't do it in a cost-effective manner, and now we're selling to markets where people of all social economic classes can enjoy these wonderfully tasting, like environmentally smart, delicious, safe food. So to the people at Aero Farms who were bold in the face of all these challenges to help change the world of agriculture, we need a new way of feeding our planet, and we need basically in this environmental movement, in this agriculture movement, we need to wage war of peace on our planet. And to the boldness of the people at Aero Farms and to the people in this room, keep doing what we're doing. Thank you.
Next category is design. The finalists are, and the winner is Jessica Rosenkrantz.
Wow, thank you, everyone who apparently voted for me to win this award, which I'm very surprised to receive. I am the co-founder of Nervous System, which is a small design studio that focuses on experimental projects that explore the intersection between art, science, and technology. We primarily develop new ways of designing and generating products that are inspired by complex dynamic systems that we sort of co-opt the logic of from nature, and then turn those into more democratic, sort of bottom-up processes for developing new ways to take advantage of digital fabrication tools. I'm not very good at summarizing my work on the spur of the moment in front of a large audience of people, but if you check out Nervous System, you'll see what we're all about, and I guess that's all we have. Oh, other than everything I do, 50% of it is done by my partner, Jesse, who's here with me today, so thank you to him.
Congratulations, Jesse, too. Next category is communications technology individuals. These are the finalists. And the winner is Shyamnanth Golakota. I believe we have him on Skype. Do we? It's not connecting. On behalf of him, and he spent so much effort trying to come to this event tonight, and I had so many conversations with him. He doesn't get to see he works all the time, he doesn't get to see his family very often, and the family had scheduled a trip to visit him at his home today for a day, and his parents, and so we knew about this and arranged him to be on standby for Skype, but I think possibly due to the fact that we started a little later than we expected, that might have been the cause. But a wonderful man doing amazing work, and again, I urge all of you to look up the work that all these winners are doing. Thank you. The next category, entertainment. These are the finalists. And the winner is Christian Fritz.
Thank you very much, Jim, for that. I want to point out that it's also my colleagues and friends Young Vyasa's prize, who had the idea for the spike system that we were nominated for. So the spike system, those of you who have been here yesterday have seen it. We provide, by moving a camera through seemingly everyday events, a high-speed camera, provide a new look at how everyday occurrences work, everyday events look. And I hope, although the outer purpose is to actually do advertising with that, and so we sell sugared water or snack food or something like that, I hope that in reality an effect is to inspire people by just having a different look at the world. Just don't tell our clients. This is the main purpose. So thank you very much. Thank you also to all our colleagues at the Marmalade who support us. What a wonderful event. Thank you.
Thank you. The next category is materials corporate. These are the finalists. The winner is NanoScribe. They were not able to attend from Germany due to a trade show that's going on right now with all their senior executives. They only wanted to send those. But on behalf of them, I accept the award. Thank you. The next to last category is ethics. These are the finalists. And the winner is Shannon Valor.
Amazing. In my work on the ethics of emerging technologies and in my forthcoming book, I talk a lot about the virtues that humans are going to need to flourish with technology in the 21st century and beyond. I talk a lot about virtues like courage and moral perspective and moral leadership in the wise use of science and technology. And I think, as we saw from his remarks earlier this evening and from the existence of this event, that Jim Clark and the WTN, as well as virtually everyone in this room, embodies those virtues. And I just want to say that I'm honored to be in all of your company. Thank you. And whether you think that our existence on this planet is a miracle or an incredibly happy accident, it's evident from everything we know that the existence of the human family on a cosmological perspective is a spectacular happening. And if science and technology are good, they are good only because and to the extent that they promote the flourishing of that family, the entire family. And I look forward to a future where that is understood by everyone, everywhere. I would be remiss not to thank the other ethics fellows of the WTN who for years have inspired and deepened my work in emerging technology ethics. I could name many, many people, probably everyone on that list, but I certainly want to single out my friends and colleagues whose conversations have helped advance my own thinking over the years, in particular last year's winner in the ethics category and tonight's winner in the media category, Wendell Wallach. Also, my colleague and friend, Patrick Lynn, John Solins, former winner Rosaria Tadeo, and it is the community of people working in the field of emerging technology ethics that will make a difference, certainly not any one individual. And then finally, I have to thank my husband, Dan, who is the deepest well of love and creative brilliance and virtue that I've ever known. Thank you.
The final category for the evening is Space Corporate. These are the finalists, and the winner is the European Space Agency for the Rosetta Comet mission.
I don't know why I got the smoke.
Since a man came on and touched something and it's happening, I believe it's intentional, and guessing it has to do with the entertainment coming soon. But something very entertaining and important you're about to hear right now, so let's focus.
Thank you. It is entertaining, and it's very interesting for me to be here. I had no idea that I would be among such creative folks. It's really it makes you feel humble. Now, previous speakers spoke about boldness. I think ESA, the European Space Agency, was crazy to even try what they have done. We have had to use a lot of patience, 10 years to get to where we wanted to get. But this is all thanks to, vision, passion, precision, and for that I will illustrate with an anecdote. Rosetta traveled for 10 years, billions of miles, I can't even remember how many, to rendezvous with a comet. The name of the comet is like super long and complicated, and the French came up with the nickname Chury, which is easier to remember. And then when we approached that comet, we thought, it would be potato-shaped, no sweat, we could land on it, because I forget to tell you, one of the payloads was a lander, the size of a washing machine, and we call it affectionately the washing machine. Philae is the real name. So when we got closer and closer to the comet and started looking at, seeing how it looked like, potato-shaped, duck-shaped, spinning, we thought, whoops, this is really, really going to be very, very hard. And in fact, landing Philae on the comet is like throwing a dart, now relatively speaking, throwing a dart where we couldn't see where we were throwing it onto a spinning comet. Took 7 hours for the dart to reach the 25 round, not the bullseye, but it's not bad. It's not bad. And as one of the scientists said, we didn't land on the comet once. We landed on the comet 3 times because, of course, we didn't know what we were going to land on. And in the end, Philae bumped off a couple of times. So we landed 3 times on the comet. But most importantly, Rosetta, the orbiter, is still around the comet. It has been accompanying it and traveling with it for about a year now, or even more than a year, bringing a wealth of information. So why did we go to a comet? Because I think it's just normal, human. We're curious. We want to know where we come from and why us. Why are we here in this huge, huge, huge universe? Why are we here? And we thought the comet would bring some answers, you know, where the water came from and all that. I'm not a scientist, so I don't know what the outcome is going to be. I know that there's a wealth of results that, you know, we will discover and publish very soon. I am accepting the award on behalf of the team, which is tonight celebrating, actually, back in Europe. I think because it's Europe, there is a celebration in Spain where the scientists are, a celebration in Germany where the operators are, but Europe is celebrating. And they have asked me, because I live in Washington and represent the European Space Agency there, to come and accept it on their behalf. I think I must also thank our member states, who are the ones who cough up the money for us to do these things. And we do it for the necessity of discovery and the curiosity that characterizes us all. Thank you very much. It's an honor to be part of this network.
Thank you. On a night with lots of surprises, we actually do have Shyam, the winner of the Communications Technology Award, now on Skype. And I think we should let him deliver his acceptance speech. Shall we? Yes. Here we go. Hi, Shyam.
Thank you so much for the award. I really tried to be there, but because of prior commitments, I couldn't be there. But I'm really grateful for the award. And I just wanted to say a sentence about my work. My work is about providing internet connectivity for the next billion devices. And we have been designing technology which allows us to basically connect the next billion devices and have devices which do not require any kind of a batteries. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Shyam. And say hello to your family from all of us.
Thank you so much.
Okay. You can join us. I am now going to introduce some entertainment, but I just want to let you know that I think we should ask you to give a round of applause for all the winners this evening, all the finalists, and all the innovators. I'd like to introduce Aradia and Kevlar to present Elysium Future. Wow. Thank you so much. I just want to say a few thanks before we close the evening, and then I'm going to make a toast. I want to thank the performers that helped make this evening even more moving and affecting. I want to thank our sponsor, IBM Watson, with whom I think the W10 can do a lot of very interesting things in the future.